Welcome to episode 1 of Seat of the Pants Cooking with Chef Bill. What are you cooking during quarantine? That may depend a lot on what you have on hand. Chef Bill shows us a breakfast frittata that you can make and vary the ingredients depending on what you have in your fridge. And now, Chef Bill.
Welcome. Today we're going to be doing a little cooking show because of COVID-19. We've got a lot of stuff that's been left over in our refrigerators, and what do we do with the things that we have, and how do we prepare foods for our families? What I have here is this, it's called a breakfast frittata. It's more like a little bit of a pizza in a frying pan. This one here that I'm making tonight, it'll serve probably 2 people because it's a fairly good sized frying pan. We have all our ingredients here. We have some green onion, which we'll be dicing up. We have a green pepper. And there's a question I'm going to ask you about these guys. If you flip a pepper over and you see these 3 nodules, well, some of them have 3 nodules and some of them have 4 nodules. So the old fallacy is that either the 3 is a male or the 4 is the male. So they're trying to determine whether 3 nodules means it's a male or 4 nodules means it's a male. So you have a male and a female pepper. So is that true or is that false? Stay tuned. We'll let you know about that later on. Then we have some garlic. I love garlic. We cook with garlic all the time. And I'm going to show you a neat little trick on how to get the skin off the garlic without having to sit there and peel it in your fingers all the time. Then we have eggs. Of course, we have the eggs. A little bit of water. There's about probably not even 2 ounces of water. Some tomato. Normally, I would put some mushrooms in here, but due to not going out to the store all the time like we always used to, I don't have any mushrooms with me. So we didn't have any mushrooms. So in place of the mushrooms, we're going to be using some Parmesan cheese, which we'll put on top of it when it's cooking in the oven. Then we have a baked potato that was left over, so we're going to take that up and we're going to cut it up and make it into like a home fry. And then while everything else is all cooking and going nicely, we're going to be making some fresh grapefruit fruit juice in our little juicer here.
Can you talk about you cook your baked potatoes in the microwave?
Yeah. You take your normal potato and you pierce it so that you can let the steam out while it's cooking in the microwave. And I'll take just the 1 potato and I'll put it in there for 6 minutes. And it'll come out and it'll be the perfect baked potato. So, with that being said, I have things lined up in the order that they're going to be going into the frying pan for the amount of time it takes for that particular vegetable to break down, to be, to have this become translucent, to have the peppers, kind of al dente cooked through, and then the baked potato, you want to brown them up. So this is one of the first things that I'm going to be throwing in would be the baked potato. So with that being said, I'm going to take this and slice it down the middle, flip it on its side, do that one more time, and then just chunk it, maybe 3/4 of an inch chunks, just like that. Cool. Now we're going to take some of this butter and I'm going to introduce that into the frying pan. And I'm going to turn the frying pan up on to high to melt the butter down. When you're using knives and you're cutting into, you're dicing and slicing, you want to take your fingers and kind of make them into almost a fist, a half a fist with your fingernails on the board. And that way, you're using your knuckles as a guide for your knife, so you don't slice your fingertips off. So then, with that being said, you just keep going down. And what I'm doing is I'm pushing the onion with my fingers and my thumb introducing it into the blade as we're going down. And it's kind of like a push and go. And when you get down towards the end, you just move your fingers back. Take it and dice it up a little bit. And then put it into your Remke. Alright, so I'm going to get this out of the way. And move that butter around a bit. And I can see it's getting beautiful right now. So we're going to put the potatoes in. Alright. You can kind of hear them sizzling when they're in there. And like I said, we just want to get those in there and start browning them up. So we thought about our peppers. Are they male, female, fruit, vegetable? Well, according to the University of Oregon, it's a myth that peppers have a gender. Because they are coming from a seed and a flower, the pepper itself, that's the word I'm looking for, the pepper itself is the ovary of the plant. So, like I said, it might look like a lot, but this is for 2 people. And I use about, well, you could use 2 eggs, but I like to use maybe 3 eggs for 2 people. Alright, so those 2 are ready to go. Oh, see now they're getting nice and brown? Now we have browning here going on. That's what you want. Nice brown potatoes. Now we can introduce the onion. And the pepper. And just give it a good toss. All right. Next, we're going to come to the garlic. So, I was telling you about how you can get the skin off the garlic without sitting here and having to peel it away. What you do is you take it and you put it into you could actually put it inside a Tupperware container, put the lid on it, and then you just shake it. And when you do that, it takes the skin off off the garlic. Which is kind of a neat trick. I guess we'll use 3. Just because we love garlic so much. Reduce the heat down there a little bit. Now these guys here, take the flat side of your blade and just pop it down. You kind of mash it. And then you ball it up together and do the same thing. You're just mincing it up. So depending upon how much you love garlic, depends on how many cloves you put in. My wife and I, we both love garlic. So I use 3. One of these days they're going to have cameras and movie cameras where you can smell what's going on. And I'm telling you, if you could smell my kitchen right now, with that garlic and the onion and the peppers that are cooking in there, the smells are just, they're great. Now, with my eggs, I'm kind of lazy when it comes to scrambling eggs. What I do is I take a Tupperware container, 1 egg, let's put that over there, 2 eggs, 3 eggs, into the old Tupperware. Throw the eggshells away. Now we got, what do we got here? Just about an ounce of water. Done. Take your lid, pop it on, and shake, rattle, and roll. Voila! Scrambled eggs. And now we just add that to this. I have a small spatula that I use, and I'll just tip up the side of the pan and lift the corner of the egg mixture and let the raw egg drift down into the side. And I'll do that all the way around, kind of evenly dispersing the egg batter. Now I brought my temperature up just below high. So, while that's doing that, I can take my juicer and I'll take my grapefruit. One done. Two done. All right, so we come back to this guy. Let it drizzle down the side. Some more over here. Alright, let that keep going. Make sure the rack in your oven is on the high end. I'm going to go with a broil and get the broiler starting to warm up a bit. So now I'm going to take some of these grape tomatoes. I'm going to cut them up, cut them in half. Now these are pretty big grape tomatoes, so I'm going to cut them in half again. Now it doesn't take long for a tomato to cook, obviously, because they're so thin and, you know. Let me put that in there like that. That looks good. Then we take some shredded Parmesan, fresh Parmesan, if you got it. And just sprinkle that right up on top. Alright, turn your stovetop off, bring that off to the side for a second, let it sit there and talk to itself for a little bit. And while that's happening, we'll take the other grapefruit. Alright. This should just about do it for this guy. The good thing about this juicer is if you have seeds in the grapefruit or if you have seeds in the oranges that you're doing, it captures that. It captures a lot of the pulp. If you don't like a lot of pulp in your orange juice or your grapefruit juice, it's capturing it right in the top of the juicer. So from there, you take this, and I'm going to get it out of the way. All right. I'm going to take this, pop it in the oven underneath the grill, and we'll just let it sit. And then we'll take this guy, and there you have a perfect glass of grapefruit juice that'll go along with your frittata. So basically what we're doing right now is just waiting for the frittata to get a nice brown crust on it. You'll see we'll be melting the cheese. The cheese is getting melted up. And that's going to take another minute or two. It doesn't take very long. You want to make sure that the egg on the top has been cooked because you don't want to be eating raw egg, that's for sure. It only takes maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes for it to cook up, and then it's ready to be flipped. That's looking good. It's looking real good. Here's another question for you, actually. When we were talking about, you know, the nodules on the bottom of the pepper, you know, the 3s and the 4s. Trick question again, is a pepper a fruit or is it a vegetable?
I have this one. I have it already.
So the answer to that, it is a fruit. It is not a vegetable. I believe it was back in 1893 that the U.S. government had to figure out a way that they could tax certain items that come into the states. At the time, peppers were considered a fruit because they come from a flower. Anything that grows from a flower is a fruit. So you've got cucumbers, you've got corn. They're all fruits, but the only way that the government could tax them is if they called them a vegetable. So they turned them into a vegetable. And I think we're just about done. So from here, this is a tricky part. Take a plate, put it on top, and then put it over. And there's your frittata. And since it's going to be for 2 people, I'm going to cut it in half. So now you can see all the juices from the tomatoes and the onions and everything else. All right. So there you have it. It's the breakfast frittata. If you have any questions, feel free to call Silas Bronson Library, or you can email them, and they will get a hold of me and ask, let me know what your thoughts are. And if you have any ideas of something that you would like to see cooked, or you cooked yourself, give us a yell, and we'd be glad to look into it. So, as they say, bon appetit.